One of the most important things I tell my first-time home buyers. Hi, it's Gloria and welcome back to my channel, Roman of Real Estate. Today we'll be speaking about first-time home buyers purchasing a home. The 10 most important things that one should do. Point number 1, pre-approval. Why is pre-approval very important? Pre-approval is basically telling you what your budget is in buying a home. Know what you can spend and spend what you can afford. Who do you go to get your pre-approval? Financial institution or a mortgage broker? What's the difference? A financial institution would be able to sell you products that they offer. You may have to visit different financial institutions to find what the best deal is for you. Versus a mortgage agent does that work for you and gives you the options of what's available out there. Therefore, you would be able to choose what would be best for you. It is always a great idea to have all your documentations available. Letter of employment, pay stubs, notice of assessments, your bank statements, your employment letter. These are basic information that any mortgage agent or financial institution will ask you in order to get you your pre-approval. Now that you're pre-approved and you know the budget that you are allowed to purchase your home, let's do the exercise of needs and wants. Needs, wants, no, not ever, is how I define a task for any of my clients. List down all your needs, list down all your wants, and list down no, never. With that, you would actually be able to narrow down on what your wants and your needs are in a home. Now, under the column of no, not ever, it could be somebody in the family is allergic to carpet. So no, not ever having a carpet in a home may be on that list. What is your wants could be somebody else's needs. And what is someone else's needs could be somebody else's wants. I have created a template for all my clients who are purchasing a home to list down their wants, their needs, and no, not ever. And I've actually put some examples on them. This template is free, downloadable for you on my website at Roman of Real Estate. Now that we've done point 2, let's move on to point 3. Area. Location. How do you choose a location for your home? Do you have school-going children? Do you need a school close by? Is it a school bus route? Transit, shopping. What is your lifestyle? What do you need around you in the area that you're living with? Not in a short term, but perhaps maybe a 5-term plan. In 5 years, you may have a child going to university. You might want to make sure that there's transit, or even if it's closer to university. So choosing an area will be based on not an immediate plan, but at least a 5-year plan. So an insight that I have that I really think will be helpful to you, and I would love to share this with you. Don't think about your current lifestyle only, but also a lifestyle that you want to build. Perhaps you want to start hiking, and therefore you would want to choose an area with hiking trails, or even biking. London, Ontario has got lots of biking trails. Or perhaps you want to look for an area where there's a playground close by for your children. So think of a lifestyle that you want to build and not only a lifestyle currently that you're living. That brings us to point number 4, the purpose of the home and the size of the home. Different people purchase a home for various reasons, mainly for their self-use. But there are other reasons such as investments, or even a home for a child that's going to university. Depending on the reason of the purchase of the home will depend on the size of the home. So let's think about what this house is for whom, and then you will be able to actually know what size of a home are we actually looking to purchase. So recently I've actually purchased a number of investment properties for a family that I know. And therefore, when they wanted to do investment purchases, they did not want to do purchases that are huge. They wanted to do smaller homes for an investment purpose. Again, There's another family that purchased a home for their university child, a university-going child, and it should fit for herself and maybe for one other to live with them. So different various reasons will determine the size of the home that you should be shopping for. That brings us to point 5, hidden costs. What are hidden costs? Now that you know what you're approved for and you know your budget of what you can afford to buy a home, bear in mind there are other expenses that are hidden. For an example, your land transfer tax, an appraisal fee, perhaps, your title insurance, your lawyer's fee, and if you're not doing a 20% down payment, you may also have your CMHC insurance fee. To add on to the list of hidden costs, don't forget about your property tax, your property insurance, your property inspection, and not forgetting your moving costs. Land transfer tax would be the biggest chunk of your hidden expense. Remember, purchasing a home in Toronto has 2 parts of your land transfer tax. It consists of your municipal tax as well as your provincial tax. I always suggest and advise my clients when purchasing a home to at least keep aside 1.5 to 3% of the purchase price for hidden costs. It's always better to prepare more than having a shortfall when you're closing a property. So let me show you what I mean with hidden costs. Because for pre-construction, there are actually more hidden costs than there are versus your resale. So let me just double check on one of my recent sales. So on a pre-construction, you have hidden costs such as terrain warranty fees, your hydrometer charges, your street tree planting, your survey and architectural review, surveys, your electronic communication, an increase in levies, and the list goes on. So there are a variety of hidden costs, and it also depends on whether it's a pre-construction or a resale. And you will be able to find that down below in the description. That brings us to point number 6, time. Time varies on the type of property that you're purchasing. And when I mean the type of property that you're purchasing is, are you purchasing a pre-construction or are you purchasing a resale property? When you're purchasing a pre-construction, most of the times your completion date are in the future, a few years down the future. Versus on a resale property, you could close as early as 30 days or even sooner. But what defines the time period of what you want to close? Are you thinking of moving during the summer so that it does not disrupt your children's school? Or are you thinking of closing it later? And this is something that a realtor should be listening and negotiating on your behalf. Another thing that defines time would be, are you thinking of selling your home first and then purchasing your next home? Or are you thinking of purchasing your home and then selling your home? Now, this actually depends on what market you are at. It could be a seller's market or it could be a buyer's market. But again, it all depends on individual's lifestyle. Point number 7, an exciting day. When we've done all this homework on paper, you just cannot wait to go out and see properties. But we'll have to take a pause there. Before going out and physically seeing each property of your choice, it is always good to study the MLS listing. What do I mean about that? As a realtor, when I send property listings to my clients, I walk them through the MLS listing. I walk them through the images and the virtual tour. And not only that, on the details that are actually on the MLS listing. Many a times when you walk the steps through with a client, a buyer, they will actually be able to shortlist the homes quicker, and they're actually able to find a home that they like sooner. This also is very crucial, especially during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. That brings us to point 8, comparables. What are comparables? Comparables are taking the sold listings around the area where one is looking to purchase a property. Comparables are an average, an estimate of what this property may be sold for. But remember, each individual house is different. The style of the house could be the same, the square feet could be the same, but what are the upgrades that one has done inside? What are the features of each individual home? One could have a walkout basement versus one without a walkout basement. So when one compares a property, it should be as similar as possible to the subject one that the person is intending to buy. One of the most important things I tell my first-time home buyers: comparables are great only if they are done with great analysis in details. Point number 9. Now that you have been pre-approved, you know your budget, you know your location, you know the type of home that you want, you know your timeline, and you have actually located a property that you like, one of the last few steps that I always tell my buyer clients to do, especially first-time home buyers, is visit the neighborhood a number of times. Again, not disturbing the seller's home. What do I mean by that? Take a drive through the neighborhood during the daytime. Take a drive through the neighborhood during the nighttime. Park your car, just feel how it is at the neighborhood. Who knows, you may even meet one or two neighbors that may become your friends, even before you put in an offer and purchasing that home. It is a great feeling once you know what kind of neighborhood it is for your own self. So recently, a first-time home buyer has purchased a home through me. He was new to the country, and this was his first time buying a home. He has a 5-year-old child, and therefore having a school close by was one of the important things that he needed. This was an exercise that I encouraged him to do. Take a day, drive around the neighborhood, find out what schools are around, what the bus routes are, what would be your preference in school-wise for your son. Go into the school and speak to the principal or somebody in the school. Get a feel of the school and see if your son likes the school. I had actually encouraged this to my client, and guess what? He did it. Until today, he always will thank me for encouraging him to do that, because that helped secure a property that made him very happy once he moved in, because his child was very happy in that school. He had bus route and everything that he wanted in the home and the surrounding fits his lifestyle and his family. This brings us to point number 10. Drum roll, offer. You found your home, you have loved the neighborhood, and you're ready to put in an offer for this home. Bear in mind, the offer that you're putting should be an offer within your budget. You would not want to exceed way over your budget. This is very important to remember when you're putting an offer on a property. How does the offer presentation go? There are documents that needs to be signed, which your realtor will explain each individual step. In today's market and in today's time, a lot of offers are not being done in person due to COVID-19, and it's all done electronically. Negotiations will happen between realtors, and your realtor will be giving you the information and seeking your instructions and moving forward according to what you have instructed. Always remember that you have a budget that you can afford. Going way beyond that budget is your decision. Many times when I represent the seller, I always get these calls asking me what the seller's expectations are for the property. To all first-time home buyers, this is my advice or suggestion. If you're falling in love with that home, put in your best offer. The best offer that you can afford, the best conditions that you want to put in the offer, which would be spoken to you with with your realtor and move forward with that. And so you may ask me, what is that best offer? Well, that best offer is your point number one, what your budget allows you to purchase a home with. Bearing in mind, all those hidden costs also needs to play a part. Now that we've come to the end of those 10 points and almost towards the end of the videos, but please stick around. If you ever wondered why all of these steps were important, here's where you find out. Step 10, putting in an offer. Now that you're putting in an offer, within the budget that you know, knowing your moving cost and any and all of your hidden costs, this will aid you to be financially comfortable in your purchase. For all of you who are still watching, thank you. I really hope that these points are beneficial for you, because when I was a first-time home buyer, I really wished that I had these points to guide me. Because we don't want this video to be too long, and I do have a couple more points that I want to add and share, I'm going to put a link in my description to a blog where I would actually specify more in detail about these 10 points and a few points that I'm not able to cover in this video. And a quick reminder about the free PDFs of the wants, needs, and no not ever that's freely available on my website at romanofrealestate.com, which is down below at the description as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, because your support means a lot to us. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or give me a call. I will also link my socials below in case you want to know what I'm doing on a daily basis. Until next Tuesday, when we are back with a new episode, signing off, it's Gloria from Roman of Real Estate.